Hello again, and welcome to another one of my episodes. In this one, I'm going to cover actually some very, very awesome functional tags. And by functional, I mean they do a lot of stuff, but not visually. You don't actually get much visually out of them. In fact, you get nothing visually out of them because they're part of the head tag. They are meta tags. Anyways, meta tags are pretty awesome. Meta tags are used for a lot of things, but primarily they are used for descriptors about your site. So it makes them very important. So I'm just going to go in here and just make a few. So what we have here is we have So what we have here is an empty meta tag, and empty meta tags don't do anything. You can quote that. I'm quotable for that. You know, empty meta tags don't do anything at all, ever. Anyways, so basically, meta tags, you have a name and a content, and the name is the type of content that you're creating, or that you're kind of meta-ing, and then content is the content. So the name, let's do author, and so you can say it's like Keith. That's my Twitter. And then you can do something like that, or I usually, when I'm doing like a professional website, I'll do I'll put my email address in there, and you can have multiple authors. You can have like you know, there you go. So there's 3 authors to this, both me and Mitt and Barack. We're just making web pages together, being awesome. And so that's kind of one of the things you can do with it. Some of the other things you can do for it is you can do keywords. Now, keywords are so cool because flashing neon lights, you know, Swedish dance music going on with words you don't understand, but it sounds awesome because it's SEO. Type stuff. So if you say SEO, people just get excited, you know, sort of like it's a rave. So basically with keywords, there's an S at the end there. With keywords, you're basically denoting kind of the search terms that search engines will use to quantify your site. So you can say things like you learn, this is you know, HTML5, CSS3, JS, XHTML, stuff like that. And then basically if like Google crawls your site to, you know, like find out what's on it, it'll use these keywords as kind of a, you know, like, oh yeah, let's remember that this site does this and does that. One of the things to note about keywords is if you have too many of them, search engines will just be like, nah, don't want to do anything with this guy. Walking away. It's sort of like, you know, that guy at the party. And so basically, you want to keep them to a limited amount. I say probably like a dozen, like 12 to 15. Anything more than that, you're going to start getting overkill, and you start running the risk of probably just having too much there. And you probably need to, like, you know, at that point, you need to start working on like the content to make the content easier to search. But, you know, when talking SEO style. But so just keep it kind of around that range. And I think that's a good, safe range to be in. Anything more is just kind of overkill in most situations. So next thing we have is description. And this is going to be like, you know how when you look on Google, you see a site, it's like, you know, Joe Blow's website. And then underneath it, there's a block of text. And sometimes that's like the most recent blog post, and then sometimes that's like some block of text that's always there. This description and the content that's in here in this meta tag is what most browsers and search engines use for that. little block of text underneath the title. So you can say something like learn web 2.0 technologies here. And so that's kind of like, you know, hey, we've got our keywords, we got our description, and so you know, we've got a title, you know, there is no spoon with zeros because we're elite. And basically that allows us to be a lot more visible from when we're spidered by search engines. And spider just means that they're crawling your site. You know, all these terms are just silly. Now I was going to end the video kind of at that last cut, but I decided there was a few things I do want to show for the meta tag, kind of a little bit advanced, but not terribly advanced. That I'm just going to give you basically the information, and then as you go on, you'll learn enough to actually make use of it. So the first one's going to be the HTTP equiv attribute, and this one's actually really cool because you're basically sending a header. And if you don't know what a header is, don't I'm not going to explain it, but do go and look it up, and don't worry about not knowing what it is right now. Basically, when the page is sent through the internet, through the pipes, and lands in the other person's computer, it has a header on it, and this header is not a literal header. It's something you can't see. It's code that's sent in the background to the browser, and the browser works on it. You don't even see it. It's not even this head tag either. It's something completely external, part of the protocol. And basically, there's a few things you can do. The one that I'm showing right here, refresh 30, this will literally automatically refresh the page, just like you click to F5 or whatever, every 30 seconds. And it works in pretty much every browser, given, you know, certain security settings. But that's really an interesting thing. But the HTTP equiv is powerful because you can do any header, any bit of header that you can pretty much that you would want to change like this, you can send out. So this is just kind of an example of one. And then there's one more thing. And this one's more of a completely, and by the way, I forgot a slash there. Did you see that? I'm such a noob. Gosh. There is one thing that you really should know, and you should be using, but 9 out of 10, even the good coders and the good, you know, website builders are not using properly. And that is charset. And charset basically kind of tells your browser what the default character renderer is, and it's not terribly useful right off the bat for most people, which is why it's ignored so often. But you can say something like UTF-8, UTF-16, stuff like that. UTF-8 is pretty much the standard, but the importance of defining this is so that the browser knows what to display, because sometimes you'll get those strange characters where it'll be like, you know, hash blah 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 blah, and it's just these random characters where symbols in your text should be. This most of the time will fix it, and sometimes you have to change your character set encoding to something else to get those to not appear, to get them to appear, however you want it to actually work. It's very important to learn this setting if you're working on foreign languages. Languages like Russian, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, anything that uses any kind of non-standard or you know, that base Roman character set, you're pretty much going to want to at least become familiar with the charset meta tag, just so that you can get those working right. And I just wanted to touch on those. I'm not going to go into details on when you should use one or another. Maybe I will sometime in the future, maybe not. It's not a terribly complex thing. Like, it'd probably be just like another 10-minute video just talking about the char set. So I don't know if I want to do that, but it's still one of those things that I felt that, you know, because I'm covering the meta tag, I want to make sure I was kind of thorough with that, with the HTTP equiv and the char set attributes on the meta tag. So I hope you learned something. Go ahead and make awesome code. Peace.